All right, people, it's time to talk about what to never do when you backpack.
Yeah, and this is definitely not everything you should
No,
do.
this is not a comprehensive list.
And you know
Fair
what?
point.
And there's no order in which these tips and tricks are coming out. This is just random thoughts.
Yes. So we just put together a collection separately of like things you just really, there's no reason to ever do these things backpacking, and I think there's value in talking about it.
Yep.
So do you want to take the first one?
First one, don't rely on people for gear.
That's a good one.
Don't rely on others for gear. Don't rely on others for knowing the trip as well. And you just rely on everybody for...
Don't rely on them for trip planning.
Yeah, don't rely on people for trip planning. Don't rely on people for gear especially. You should always know the trip. Even though like other people oftentimes organize the trips that we go on, we do spend time understanding the route and making sure that we're tracking it as well. And then especially don't rely on other people for gear like water filters and stoves and stuff. You know, we backpack together like 99% of the time. We're both comfortable sharing
We still
gear.
don't really share stuff.
No, we honestly bring our own stuff either. Now, oftentimes we won't bust out both setups, but yeah, just be self-sufficient. And plus, like, if you're always borrowing stuff from people, you're just
Don't be that guy.
You're just pissing everybody
Don't be
off.
that guy.
Or gal.
Nice. That's a good one. So my next thing you should never do, especially in the winter, is let anything down get wet. We had a situation on our last trip. Check it out. Where we let down stuff get wet. There's no reason you should ever be letting that happen. It's just a poor planning on your part, but you should never let anything down get wet, and especially in the winter, because you should never die. So
You shouldn't die. Yeah, don't rely on your pack just for waterproofing.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
So don't ever let your down stuff get wet. Don't ever assume your pack is going to be waterproof, even if they say it's waterproof. We've had Dyneema packs wet out, but just don't. You can get yourself into a sticky situation doing that, so don't ever do that. Yeah. Next thing you should, and I lumped a bunch of these things together, is basically it falls under the realm of just don't be a dick. So, and what I mean by that is
don't destroy other people's camping experiences.
Don't be rocking Bluetooth speakers at camp if you got other people around. Don't be droning other people.
Don't be littering.
Don't be littering and like leaving stuff in. That's a common thing we see is people leave trash in the campfire.
Yeah, they're like, oh, the next group will come along and they'll burn it.
This is just like a very like broad statement, but just don't be a dick out there. You're smart enough to know like you should be leaving no trace. You shouldn't be bothering other people. And every trip we have ever gone on, we have seen either trash left somewhere, people being dumb. Like, just don't be an idiot. I don't know. There's no other way to say it.
My next tip is don't spend too much time at water crossings trying to like be all like super technical and avoid getting your feet wet. Sometimes you're like increasing the risk of like doing all this crazy boulder hopping when in the end your feet are probably going to get wet throughout the day anyways. And sometimes it's just like safer and easier just to walk through the water and deal with it as it is. Don't
fart around.
Yeah, like I mean, obviously, if there's like a nice little like rock crossing, go for it. But don't, in my opinion, seeking out all these weird ways to get across these things when it's not like treacherous water. It's usually can be a little bit more hazardous than it's worth. So
I like that. And don't fart around.
Yeah, and that one was learned. That took me a while to learn that one.
Here's a really easy one. Shout out to our buddy Bryce Newbold. Don't sleep with your food. Even if you're...
At least in bear country.
I mean, even if you're not... I mean, definitely don't sleep with your food when it's in bear country, but there is no reason you need to sleep with your food, period. I mean, even when Andy and I are backpacking, not in bear country, we usually hang our food. If we don't hang our food, we'll run like a critter line, or we'll at least like hide it somewhere outside. Not in your tents. This is an easy one. Don't sleep with your food, especially in bear country, but there's no reason to sleep with your food anyway. Unless you're like, I don't know, maybe you want some late night snacks. I get that sometimes. If there's no animals around, you want some like 2 a.m. beef jerky. I get it. And then I guess if you are going to sleep with your food, make sure you eat all your smelly food first. At least Bryce did that. Another thing that this is just good practice to do, but if you're hiking and there are people behind you that are going faster than you,
let them by.
Let them pass. Andy and I have been passed many times. We've passed people before. We've come up on, it's just so awkward if like we got to get to camp and there's people in front of us and we like can't get around them and we're literally just hiking like a foot behind them.
Yeah.
That's awkward for everybody.
And at the same time too, if you're going downhill and somebody's coming uphill has the right of way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know actually. What's the actual rule? You would think like
uphill has the right of way.
Really?
Yeah.
But you'd think like mountain bikers going downhill.
I'm talking hiker.
Okay. For a mountain biker, it'd be it'd be the opposite, right?
If it was a mountain biker coming flying downhill, I'd be jumping to the side.
Yeah. Because like skiing uphill, people get the right of way. But hiking, I can see that.
Yeah.
Just don't be that person. Just move to the side, let them pass. It's like really annoying.
Yeah.
And we've been on both sides of it. So.
Oh yeah, we've been passed most of the time.
Yeah, we get passed.
Next,
I'm enjoying yours.
Yeah, next tip, and this one's a little controversial, and so like this is definitely dependent on location and what the rules are. But if you're in an area with like designated trail systems, don't be that guy that's always like cutting switchbacks.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Or like creating new trails or something like that. No, I totally get that there are places and times when you're allowed to do that and you're allowed to do some bushwhacking.
Yeah.
I totally get that. But like if it's a designated trail, like leave no trace and just stay on the dang trail. I hate it when there's always all these little side trails going, like cutting switchbacks or doing something dumb like that. I will say it does destroy the scenery a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
But there are certainly places where, you are allowed to do some, bushwhacking and off-trail stuff, and I totally get that and respect that. So like if you're just on a designated trail system and you're hiking that trail, just stay on the trail. That's it.
Yeah, I like that. Yours are better than mine. So one thing also in the winter, never let your water filter freeze. That's just an easy one.
Yeah.
If you have a membrane water filter, which is most every water filter, and it gets wet, never let it freeze because it will be broken. The membrane will pop from the expansion of ice in there, and don't let your water filter freeze. My last one, yours are better than mine. My last one is don't ever let your like super expensive clothing that's most likely made of nylon, don't let it get too close to the fire. Because I cannot tell you, every single piece of clothing I have that's backpacking related has tiny little holes in it.
Yeah, you got so much tenacious tape all over your like down
Yeah, I
coat.
got jacket. I mean, I don't know. And part of that is because I do a lot of tending of the fire and there's like no way around that. But just don't let your super expensive clothing get anywhere it goes triple fold for like if you have a tarp and you're like camping close, like if you have a sleeping bag is close to the fire, like embers will just go. I don't know of a material that won't stop an ember. So I've got so many black holes in all my stuff and it's super annoying. So just don't let your really expensive clothing get too close to the fire.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yep.
Those are all mine.
All right. So here's the last one. So I think a lot of times when we're watching all these YouTube channels and you see all these people out there just crushing miles and you're like, I'm going to plan a trip and I'm going to do 20, 25 miles a day. But you're not physically capable of doing it. Like, don't be that person that like creates a trip around big miles when you know it's not within your physical limits. And then it's just painful and an awful experience. Then you have to make adjustments and then just confuses everybody who's on the trip with you. And then you also, you just set yourself up for a bad time. Like, create trips within your limits and like what you enjoy. And like, don't feel like you got to get out there and just crush miles. There are people who are physically, capable of doing those types of things day in and day out. And maybe some people like doing that. Some people like doing smaller miles, but like, know your limits and don't plan like crazy trip mileage when it's not something that your body's used to doing. When we planned the Smokies trip, we specifically wanted low mileage because of inclement weather conditions and the fact that there was going to be lots of elevation. And so we were like, yeah, let's make it a fun, enjoyable trip. No need to crush miles. Let's do a small loop.
Yeah, so that's a good tip. All right, everybody. That's things we don't think you should ever do. Let us know what things we missed. This list was not exhaustive, and hopefully you learn from this and you have a better trip next time. So that is it for us, and we will see everybody on the next one.
See ya.